Hello, hello, hello. It's Wednesday. It's been a full day. Such a great day. So much going on. Helped lots of people. There you are, gorgeous. Let me invite you. Let me see. My guest is here right on time. Hello, hello. Okay, so I'm just, hey, Nis. Hello and welcome to our series, Women in Business. Pamela, yes, you are ready to go. I love your background. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We have
Um,
so much to talk about.
I'm sorry. Can you see me okay?
I can see you okay. We have so much to talk about. Where do we start? It's been a whole year. Well, let me shower you with some love. Can I?
Yes, please.
Awesome, awesome. So I found Pamela randomly on Instagram. One of my favorite things to do is to look for look for women in business, engage, shout them out, send them some random encouragement because we all need it. It's hard enough being a woman. It's hard enough being a woman of color. It's hard enough not getting just putting up with all of the inequalities, unequal pay, all this other stuff, right? Anyway, we're not complaining. I'm not complaining at all.
Right.
But I go out of my way to find these women, encourage them. If I have words of encouragement, I shout them out, because we need it. We need it. We deserve it. We need it. We need to feel appreciated. And somehow I found Pamela, and you all know, all of those who follow her. She's so amazing, full of knowledge. I love your growth. I could not wait. I could have told you, like in the DMs, or I could have called you, but I wanted to wait for this moment to let you know that I have loved seeing your growth over the last year. I know you've expanded into TikTok. You've expanded your merch line. I know you have a ton of stories just in this 1 year. So let's start with one thing. For anybody who doesn't know who you are, introduce yourself, introduce your business, please.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for just generally the words of encouragement and for inviting me back again and staying in touch, generally, just staying in touch. And I appreciate your support. So I wanted to get that out first, give thanks and appreciation. But my name is Pam, and I'm a paralegal and notary public freelance. I've been doing this for 14, going on 15 years now in terms of freelance paralegal, and notary for 8 years now. And so I have my company, Brooks Notary and Litigation Support, where I offer document preparation services as well as attorney services. So an attorney can hire me if they needed help with their legal documents, and the general public can help me for document preparation. There's a small, tiny difference in that, but I do documents. And in addition to that, I also launched a online retail store, and it's called BNLS Store. And the main audience is for professional women of color. And so it's a little different than when I started, going through these transitions to kind of see what really resonates with the audience. And it seems like people have really, really began to, oh, it's my alarm.
It's okay.
Uh, so people seem to really have the new line has really resonated with many women. So that makes me happy. So yeah. So in a nutshell, that's me.
I love it. You want to turn off your
Yeah. One second.
Yeah, turn it off. But in the meantime, I'll fill it
Okay.
because you guys check her link. She has awesome merch that is representative of women of color. Like, not only do we have hurdles to jump and get over and overcome, with all of the layers of just systemic things, right? We're going to keep it positive because it's already negative out there. We're going to keep it positive, but there's a ton of systemic things obstacles that we need to jump through. So your merch is very inspiring, very representative. And I think that's why it has resonated with a lot of people, because we want to see ourselves winning. We want to see ourselves on a mug being the boss, with all of our different types of hairstyles, I cannot believe there are people still being reprimanded because of how their hair looks. High school kids, not being able to walk because they have dreads. What?
Yep. That's facts.
That's mind-boggling. And I know I appreciate your voice in that sense. I really appreciate your voice in that sense. I appreciate that you come with the sense of knowledge and not sense of entitlement or belittlement. You just come with the knowledge. So can you talk a bit about that? Like, what inspires you?
What inspires me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like to help people. So that's how I got into the document preparation, because it started with my dad, because he was a World War II veteran. And so he was always fighting with the VA, and he didn't know how to do the paperwork in terms of replying, appealing, making requests, things like that. And it's a bureaucracy. So it's very tedious, So I learned that I had an interest in document preparation, really helping my dad. And then as time went on, I became the go-to person for pretty much everybody in my family. So it went from his VA administrative paperwork to, legal paperwork, with, again, friends and family, with resume stuff, with contract stuff, all kinds of stuff. So I was exposed to different types of documents. So, I really enjoyed it, still do, and went from there. And I've always had a natural interest in law. So that's how I got into the legal industry, becoming a paralegal.
Can I ask you a weird question?
Sure. There's no weird questions. Go ahead.
No, you're going to be like, why is she asking me this? So I want to know, what kind of movies do you like?
Movies? Action movies.
Action?
Yes. I love hitman, shoot 'em up, fist fight, gunfight. Like, those are like my favorite movies. I like violence, gratuitous violence.
Oh my God. What's that movie with Denzel, Man on Fire?
Yeah. That's
I love that movie. And the what is it? With Matt Damon, the trilogy, the Born Identity, the trilogy. Did you like that one?
Yeah, it was alright. I mean, because that to me seemed more like a spy type.
Yeah.
Like, okay, example would be John Wick. I love John Wick. That is amazing.
I have to rewatch that.
John Wick.
Yeah.
And Ip Man. Those are like fighting for no, John Wick is in the top spot. I love John Wick. So I'm more so into the Hitman movies and the Assassin.
I'm gonna go watch it. And the reason I ask is because you're too I don't know anybody who likes paperwork. Nobody. If I'm being honest, like not one person.
Yeah.
At all. But that's such a priceless skill to have. You're good at it and you actually enjoy it. That is priceless.
Thank you.
I commend you. And that's why I asked, what kind of movies do you like? Because I'm like, your mind works a different way. Like you just think different.
Oh yeah, it's out there. My brain is out there.
How about give us in the last year, what has maybe a lesson that you have learned within the last year, or something that stands out, a story, something that happened that could that comes with, like you overcame it, and maybe it can help somebody in a similar situation?
That's a tough question. Because I have tons of stories. But I would say something that I've learned is generally when it comes to helping people, or having a heart of willingness to help people, sometimes you can get used, taken advantage of. You know, because for me personally, I will help sometimes to a fault, because I want so badly for, like, if someone comes to me and says they need help with something or whatever, I want so badly to help them achieve that goal. So, I'll go and find all kind of resources. I will go above and beyond with whatever service it is that I'm providing at the time, just because I really want to I guess need the closure of, okay, I helped them. They got it. They're good. You know what I'm saying? And so I've kind of had to learn that, unfortunately, not everyone is deserving of that kindness, and, because there are people, unfortunately, who will develop a sense of entitlement, as you say, because you've helped them to a certain degree. They would expect those type of things all the time, or, you know what I mean? So I've had to learn that. Yeah, I hope that answered the question.
It did. Yeah, I think that's very important for anybody in any kind of industry to learn, to set boundaries with your clients, because you have to take care of your craft, your livelihood, yourself as a person. There's so much that goes into it. It's not just, I'm here, I'm filling out paperwork. Like you said, you do a ton of research. That takes time, that takes energy, that takes time away from your family. It's so much more than what they say. Like, I think it's a meme. It has to be a reel that I saw that is on Instagram, because everything's a reel, right?
Yeah,
there was,
pretty much.
and you probably have seen this one that talks about Pablo Picasso. Somebody sat next to him at a restaurant, got him to draw something on a napkin, and he drew it and then charged her a big amount of money. And then she asked him, "Why are you charging me so much for something that took 5 minutes?" He said, "It's not 5 minutes. It's all the years that I put in to learn to complete this in 5 minutes." There's so much that goes on in the back end. And I think that people do need to, like, more of us need to speak up, so that, as a consumer, they can think twice.
Yes.
Think twice. Stop and think. Stop and think.
That's really true.
Yeah. So how about in the space of TikTok? I know we're on Instagram, but I want to talk about TikTok, because I love what you're doing with your TikTok.
Thank you. Well, with TikTok, I just thought about it. Like, I've done this for so long, and I have so many stories, so many different experiences. And, of course, I'm talking to, like, friends and family about these things. And as I scroll through TikTok land, and I noticed, that I get drawn in to storytellers and into information, people who share information, things like that. That's what kind of draws my attention. Of course, we like the funny stuff too, but that's what draws my attention. And so I was like, let me try this story time thing and kind of get in there. And, I've been told that, I'm a pretty good storyteller. So I was like, let's give it a whirl. And it seems that people, are starting to gravitate toward that. I actually have a few TikTok accounts because, I'm kind of segregating from different things that I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, in particular with Brooks Notary, I try to share information, just, random facts, give a few notary tips. Just recently shared something about that we don't really talk about, I guess, in the legal industry as paralegals, that a lot of us suffer from PTSD, from the type of job that we do and the pressure that we're under and the mistreatment that a lot of us receive from the attorneys that we work for. And it's like, you talk to any paralegal or any legal support staff, they all share that same feeling and understanding, but it's not like it's something that we really just talk about or gripe about to our bosses or to, it's very rare to get somebody to just kind of stand up and, for themselves. But most people accept it as kind of part of the job. And it just kind of hit me or a couple of days ago, it just kind of hit me like, wow, like we really go through a lot and are expected to just deal with it. As I'm thinking of story times, I'm thinking of things I've experienced, and I'm like, what am I going to share today? And then I just thought about like, wow, we really go through it. So, and that's one of the reasons that I'm even freelance for myself, because I've experienced quite a bit of abuse, verbal abuse over the years working with different attorneys. And not all are bad. I'm not saying that at all, but I have dealt with some bad ones. And there are plenty of others who I'm sure can relate. So I'm sorry, I went on a tangent. I totally forgot what the question was.
That's good. No, it was like about TikTok and how it's going. So it has gotten you to a point where you're opening up about how you're processing working with these attorneys. I think that's a really good conversation starter, because I remember being in corporate America. I remember when was it? I had just had a miscarriage. I was at the office and I made a mistake, and this one agent just went off on me, like disrespectful off, like so off. I was already in a very vulnerable state. And then he went off. It was very traumatic.
Yeah.
Like I've overcome it emotionally now, and I understand, and I've done my own healing to understand that people like that come from an unhealed place. They're not emotionally connected. There's all kinds of issues there, right?
Yeah.
So I've been able to move past that, but that doesn't make it okay.
Not at
like
all.
That is not a standard that we should just accept.
Exactly.
We've evolved as humans. Like that should not be the norm, or so we think. Yes, exactly. Like I think that's a really great conversation starter, and I think that the more we explore ourselves in that, and that's why I love social media.
Yeah.
Like it's a love-hate sometimes. I appreciate that. It's a love-hate sometimes because it could get overwhelming, right? But we have control. Like we totally have control of the accounts we consume and how much we consume and all of that. So I appreciate that you're exploring that, and I bet you if they haven't already reached out, a ton of people are going to reach out.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
They did, huh?
Yeah. I mean, just generally through, my DMs, I talk to paralegals and notaries from all over the country, and people aspiring to be paralegals or notaries. They want to, pick my brain. How did you do this? What do you think about that? And honestly, I don't mind sitting and talking with people because when I started, I didn't have that. I had to figure everything out the hard way. So again, with just wanting to help people. So I've had plenty of people from different states say, okay, well, how did you do that? How did you do this? Do you have any idea what I can do for my state? Whatever. And for me, it's a quick, I can find resources, like it's nobody's business. You know what I mean? So for me, it's quick. Okay, yeah, I'll look this up and I'll just send you the link type of thing. You know what I mean? Because again, when I started, I didn't have that. So I had to figure everything out, and it was hard, but I think, of course, that made me much better at what I do because I had to kind of grind so hard for it. But anybody that comes to me for help, I have no problem with helping. I'm not going to charge you to help. I mean, if we did like a one-on-one consultation thing, like, okay, yeah, I have to charge you something, but
yeah.
But yeah, if you send me questions to my DM, I'll either respond to you right then and there, or I might do a YouTube video from different types of questions that I received in my DMs or something, something like that. Like I have no problem sharing information. I'm happy to do that.
I appreciate that, and I know that's true because you're very responsive. When I reach out, you're always like on top of it. And something I might be making this up because it's been a year, but
Okay.
I think from what I remember, some of the same people that tuned in last year for you
Uh-huh.
tuned in this year, and I love that. That says a lot about you. You know, I've read a few things in here in the chat, and they're lifting you up, saying how great you are, how resourceful you are, how you really help them out a lot. So that says a lot, and just sending you even more roses. You know, like we deserve our roses while we're living, and you're definitely doing some great work because it shows. It shows in the way people show up for you here, but also in your comments and on TikTok. So what's next? Okay, wait. Before we go to what's next, I had a question for
Yes.
somebody, because I do have a few people that that are in the notary business. They're in the beginning stages, and they want to know, like, you know, the startup. What would you say, like the 1, 2, 3 or something to keep in mind when you're starting up?
Well, when you're starting, let's see. Okay, so when you start, you have to you got to put yourself out there in order to attract new clients. And it's going to be scary, having to, I guess, get the phone calls or having, if you're a mobile notary for say, 'cause I'm still a mobile notary, getting the phone calls, going to people's houses or meeting up with people, it can be a little scary, but always have a website. I recommend strongly. Even
Which
if you
one?
don't, I'm sorry.
Which one? Which website?
A website? Oh, I use Wix.com
Okay.
for my websites.
Okay.
So create a website, and if you don't have money, because a lot of times starting out you don't have money, you know what I mean? They offer free versions. And I like Wix because they're more secure, you know what I mean? Because sometimes if you go to a website, it'll like stop you and say, hey, this website isn't secure, or this whatever, so Wix has all of that stuff. So that's why I just go through them. They cost a little bit more than, like, say, a GoDaddy or something like that. Squarespace, they cost a little bit more, but the security is, it's all
And if you're dealing with legal documents, security is probably
very,
what you need.
very important.
Yeah.
But back to the notary question. So I would say get you a website. There are several what do they call them? Directories. Several directories that you should sign up for. There's notaryrotary.com. That's NOTARY, Rotary, ROTARY.com. I've been using them for like 100 years now, and people find me through there. They have a free account and they have a premium account where you pay it annually. I think it's like $100 annually, but they have a free account. People will rate you there. You can rate people there, or you can rate, like, say, if you were doing loan signing, which, I'm seeing a lot of notaries are doing loan signing now. You know what I mean? That's kind of a thing. So if you're doing loan signing, you can go there and find companies to work for. There is literally a forum on Notary Rotary that where they list loan signing companies, and the notaries rate those companies. So you just go through and look for the ones with 5 stars or 4 stars. That's how you know those are really good companies. And you start submitting, like, applications to them if you want to start doing loan signing. That's a few more steps to it with the loan signing, because you kind of want to get familiar with the documentation. But there's plenty of notaries out there who are offering loan signing courses and things like that as well to teach you how to do that. Okay. So it's the website, it's the directory, and you want to make sure that you, let me think. I'm trying to think of what it was that I was struggling with. Don't give legal advice. A lot of times when we go to notarize, the customer might ask, okay, so what should I put here, or how should I fill this out, or something like that. They'll ask you questions about the document, and technically
she's loading. It was just getting good. I was like, "Ooh, I want to know." She'll be right back. Let me see. Still paused. Oh, it was just getting so good. Ah, she'll be back. She'll be back. I know she'll be back. In the meantime, that was so good. So if you're in the notary field, number one, have your website. Number two, get into directories. And number three, don't give legal advice. And Pamela was just starting to elaborate. I know she's gonna be back. I'm gonna try to find her. I just invited her, see if she can join us again so we can finish this. I don't want to finish this without her. In the meantime, while she logs back on, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to be doing this weekly for the month of March, weekly on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the month of April, it will be Thursdays. It will be Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please follow if you're interested in hearing more women's stories. For this month, it's women in business. Next, for the most part, it will be women in business. But I do want to get more women involved, right? Because some women are home takers. I see her back in. So some women are, home keepers, and that's a job in itself. Some women, they're overseas or whatever your background is. I want to go live with women, tell our story, give you your flowers while you're alive, be your hype woman. I'm calling myself the self-proclaimed hype woman because I want to shower you with love and appreciation because we need it. We don't get enough of it. Let me see if she is able to come back on so we could finish this. Continue the conversation. It was just getting so good. Yes!
Sorry, technical difficulty.
I held it down. They didn't leave us. So I did not too shabby. It was just getting good. You were saying, don't give legal
really
advice. Don't give legal advice. If clients ask you about what to put on their forms.
Yes, that's important because you don't want to tell them something, even though you may have experience with that file or type of document. What if you say something, it may be a mistake, or they misunderstand something that you told them, and then later there's an issue with the document. It can fall back on you, and you don't want that, So try to steer clear of that if you can. I strongly recommend that you don't, because especially depending on the type of document. Mm-hmm. And the other thing was the make sure that your signers have IDs. Valid IDs. Now there are exceptions, because there's some people who just aren't able-bodied, aren't able to renew their ID or get an ID. So there's a set exceptions to it, but each state's rule is different on that. But generally, if they're able-bodied individuals and they're looking to have something notarized, you want to make sure that they have valid identification. Just general rule of thumb, picture ID, like their state ID, passport, something like that. Because you have to log that information as well into your notary journal. So yeah, I hope that helps. So the notary directory, so that you can find work and that people can find you, have a website so that people can find you. Because, just as a consumer, generally we go to the internet first. We see something or see somebody's offering a service or whatever, a new business. Like,
Yep.
okay. And first thing we do, we go to Yelp or we go to Google or we go, and we go to see what we can find about them. So just try to have a website. And it doesn't have to be super fancy. It can be basic, you know what I mean? But just give people enough information to get an idea of what you do, and just to create an online presence for yourself, So
That's really, really good. So let me see. Let's put me to the test. See if I got them all right. Okay. Number 1 was have a website. Number 2 was get into a directory. Number 3 was don't give legal advice. And number 4 was have their IDs, proper identification.
Yes.
Woohoo! See, I'm good. No, you're good because you put it out there. Okay. So Pamela, one last thing. It is Women's History Month. And I not only want to highlight women in business now, but women in business, or not even just business, women in history that have impacted you, whether they're alive or maybe they passed away. Well, who's a woman that has really made an impact on you?
Well, I mean, like I said before, it's pretty much the same women. My mom, my sisters, my grandmother, just the women in my life. One of my really good friends just recently, she came out here to Vegas. I don't know if she's in the room. I haven't looked to see, but but she's a photographer, and she came all the way out here to Vegas. She was here for a conference, but she squeezed me in and did some photos for me. So I'm kind of posting them, all over the place. But we just I don't know, we just gotta kind of stick together, support each other. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, my toddler's outside the door.
I love it. Mom life.
Yeah.
I told my daughters 9 and 10, I was like, I'm going on IG Live. Have your dessert. Go ahead, have your dessert. Just don't come into the room.
Right. So yeah, but I mean, but there's so many women, that have inspired me and that I look up to, and they don't even realize it. They don't even know, but you never know who's watching or who admires you,
Yeah, and that's why. And you're what?
So, some I know by name and some I don't. Some I may just see on social media and come across like, oh my God, I love her energy, or oh my God, I love what she's doing, or you know what I mean? Just kind of some people just stand out, to you.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I know that's true because that's how we connected.
Right.
That's how we don't know each other in person. We just connected on social media. Yeah. I give you kudos, you give me kudos. And I think, we need that. We need that a lot. Like the world needs it in general, but women need that because we're our head of our household. We're running a home. We're raising kids. We have so many layers to our plate. There's levels to our cake. It's heavy sometimes. So it helps to hear from a stranger, whether you know them in person or not, and just get those kudos. So I love sharing that. I know you do too. Any last words that you want to leave us with so you can get back to your toddler?
Yeah, he's not going away.
It's okay.
No, he's just outside the door. Last words. I don't know. Connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Brooks Notary. I'm happy to help. If you guys have any questions about anything, if you're interested in my services, if you're interested in how I started doing what I'm doing, I'll be happy to do that as well. Also have YouTube. Website is brooksnotary.com. If you want to see some of my merchandise for the professional women of color, I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's live. It's okay.
you guys wanted to see my merchandise, pick up a few things for your home or office, you can go to bnlsstore.com.
I love it. And I'll put that on in the description
Thank
after
you.
this. That way I tag all of that on there. Thank you so much for sharing what you do with us, your heart and soul. And one last question. Do you
Yes.
have any projects coming up that we should be looking for? Any new launches? Anything like that in the future?
In the near future?
The near
Well,
future, yes.
yes, there's a couple of things that I'm playing kind of close to the chest right now. But still, I'm still working on the book that we talked about last year. Haven't finished that yet.
Same. I made progress today, actually, but I'm not going
Good,
to talk
good.
about it until I do it.
Right, yeah. So that's still in the works. And one thing I want to start doing actually is trade shows or like expos, setting up as a vendor. That's something I want to do this year.
Too bad you're not out here. I know a ton. Like, there's a really cool one in Compton.
I'm from Compton.
Right. Just fly out here. I'm gonna send you the link so that you can see what it is. But
okay.
I know I have some family, close friends in Vegas. They're like kind of off the strip, off of Rainbow.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if they know. I think they would know. I mean, you know where they are. You're super resourceful. Yeah. It's just about like pulling the trigger, huh?
Yes.
Do it. Do it. I think that would be so awesome, especially because you have your merch and you're growing your brand, you're expanding to TikTok and YouTube. I forgot to mention YouTube, but I did check you out on there. So congrats. I love it. I look forward to staying connected and to cheering you on as you grow and you expand and you blossom. So thank you. Of course. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Bye.
Bye.